SIL ruined my marriage, lying and bringing up my past. I 25F got married to my husband, Mike, 27M recently, around a few months ago. We had been dating before our marriage for around like 3 years. Me and Mike met in college when we were younger and we instantly fell in love. He has been the first love of my life and I'm pretty sure I too have been his first love. Mike is African American whereas I'm white, so there has been a difference of culture for me when we got into the relationship. Prior to meeting Mike, I had certain views and opinions on African Americans and just immigrants in general, which is no longer the case. I'm mentioning this as it comes into play quite a lot later on so as to break the ice early. Me and Mike have been happy since we started dating and are even happier now that we are together. Most of Mike's family has also been supportive and welcoming of me since I met them and I see them like their real family. His parents even offered me a place to stay when I had nowhere else to go. A note I want to add is that I'm a single child and my family has never really been together. Even when I was young my father and mother would argue constantly to the point where I would wonder why they even got married. My mother decided to walk out on us when I was at the age of 8, so I was left alone with my father to take care of me. My father did what he could, but he was unemployed and a high school dropout, so there weren't many opportunities for him in the work field. For most of my childhood he would work as a construction worker earning the bare minimum to keep me fed and in school. He told me to study well so I could have a better life and not be in his position when I was an adult, so that kept me going through most of it. My father was supportive of me and caring for me for most of my life, so I love him for that, but unfortunately when I was around the age of 18 things started to crumble for him. He started drinking a lot and also started smoking, which put his health in a bad state. He would come back drunk every day and slowly started becoming abusive towards me and unsupportive of me. This continued for a while until I entered college. Here I met Mike and I told him about everything happening at home and he offered for me to stay with him, which was the kindest thing anyone had done for me up till this point in my life. His family also offered to put my dad in a rehab center at their cost, but my dad didn't do so. Since then I have been living with his family and haven't seen my dad for a long time. Anyways, so basically I've been living with Mike's family and from there we got a lot closer and started dating and eventually got married. However, there was only ever one person in Mike's family who was against me living there. Mike's sister, who we'll refer to as Nia, has been against me staying with her family since I moved in. Although the rest of the family was always really supportive of me, Nia always had it out for me from the beginning. When I first moved in I understood why she was so against me, as I was a random person she had never even met living in her house. I tried to give her space thinking that eventually we could become friends and all would be good between us, but that never seemed to happen. Nia would constantly bully me when I was living with Mike's family to the point that every day she made me feel like I was an intruder in her house. It made me feel horrible and guilty in so many ways, even though I shouldn't have been feeling that because it was Mike's family who offered me to live there in the first place. I talked to Mike and his parents about this issue multiple times and they said that they have told Nia to have an open mind, but she wasn't changing, so for me to just bear with it. I remember one day Nia and her parents were having an argument with each other about me. I was upstairs listening in and I heard Nia say that she doesn't want a white person to be living in her household. That was when I realized that issue was more than just random dislike for me and was very directed towards my race. That same day I confronted Nia about her blatant racism towards me and she said that she wasn't being racist and that I had no right living in her house. From that day forward I tried to keep a distance from her, even though I lived in her family's house. Mike came to my defense on this issue a lot, telling his sister that she has no right telling me where I can live or not. At this stage in my life I felt like I was the cause of Mike's family's arguments and possibly his family falling apart. Mike's family was growing tired of Nia's argument and one day Nia got so frustrated at her that she punched me in the face while we were out at the shopping mall. I don't remember what caused her to do this, but this broke the ice and the family got so mad at her that they kicked her out of their house. They said that they wouldn't host such an aggressive, ungrateful and horrible daughter and to not come back to the house until she bettered herself. After that day Nia didn't come back for a few months and was living down at her friend's house at that time. I kind of felt like I was the reason this happened, but Mike comforted me saying that it wasn't my fault at all. Eventually Nia came back to the house. She apologized to me and said she was in the wrong, but I could see very clearly that she didn't mean any of those things and that she was just the same as before. She put on a fake face around me, but when we were in private she showed me her true colors. I didn't tell the family about this because I didn't want to cause any more problems in that family. Okay, anyways, fast forward a few years and it's me and Mike's wedding. Nia did attend the wedding but made it very clear to me directly by saying it that she doesn't approve or support me marrying her brother, but she was only here to support her brother in this. The wedding went beautifully. It was the happiest moment of my life knowing that now I would be with the man I love for the rest of my life. After the wedding me and Mike went on our honeymoon together to the Maldives and it was amazing too. Since then it's been about a month since we got married, but now here is where all the problems begin. Recently out of nowhere I get a call from Mike while I'm at work and he asks me if what Nia is saying is true. I was really confused, so I asked him what he meant and he told me it's best if I came home so we could all have a chat. When I got home, Mike, his family and Nia were all in the living room waiting for me. They asked me to sit down, so I did, but I was really confused about what was going on. I thought for a minute they were pranking me or something. Mike says to me that Nia found some old tweets I made on Twitter about my views views on certain racial groups. At this moment I understood what they were talking about and I got so stunned I couldn't respond to them. They continued talking about the tweets I made talking about black people, Middle Eastern people and immigrants, and they said that they took me in when I was at my lowest, so for me to make these tweets was beyond their understanding. Context to this: when I was living with my alcoholic father I fell into a deep state of depression. My life had become depressed and I had no source of happiness in my life. This caused me to become very hateful to everyone and everything around me. During this time I also was reading articles written by racist people, and all of this started seeping into my head, making me a very hateful person. This stuff started brainwashing me into believing that other racial groups are inferior, and I developed a lot of dislike for them, so I would go on Twitter and comment and post racist things. I swear that I'm not like this anymore. In fact, I was only like this for like a year of my life. Even before these tweets I was not racist. I tried explaining to the family about my mental state back then, and that since they have taken me in, all of that hatred is gone and that I am no longer like that. I tried explaining that if I am really racist, then why would I live in a household of black people and marry a black man? But for some reason everyone in the family was against me on this. Nia also started saying how these tweets were just months prior to when I started living with them, so I had these opinions on entering their house. I tried explaining to them that this wasn't the case, but no one was having it. Nia was saying that people's opinions never change, and that I probably only got married to Mike because of his money and I secretly hated him. Hearing all these words broke my heart. I didn't understand how Mike could just sit there and let his sister talk about me like this. Mike's parents said that they were disappointed in me and that for the time being they didn't want to see me or have me in their house. Mike also said that he needs some time to think and to look further into this, and that for now he will stay at his parents' house and that I should leave. After all of that happened I left his house, but I was crying my eyes out. I don't understand how someone could bring up something I said so long ago and use that against me to ruin my marriage. I didn't have anywhere to go that night as Mike's house had been my home for the past few years, so I just slept in the park on a bench. The next morning I woke up and I had a message from Mike on my phone. He told me that he needed some time to figure things out on his own and to not return to the house until he told me to. He also told me to collect my things from his house today and to leave. I tried calling his phone but it wasn't ringing, and it turned out he blocked me. At this point I knew my marriage was basically over, and I was so frustrated about why Mike was taking this so seriously even though he knows I have nothing against him and his family. That day I went and I got my stuff from his house. I asked him where I was meant to stay and that surely he couldn't leave his own wife alone like this, so he booked me a small hotel room and told me to stay there until he tries to understand this better. I will say that the reason they're taking this as seriously as they are is because in those tweets I made long ago I said some very bad and opinionated stuff, not just light things. I regret not having taken down those tweets so much, but more than that I regret making them in the first place. I'm gonna skip over some stuff because I don't want to mention it here on Reddit, but fast forward a bit and I eventually left the hotel room and stayed at a friend's house because she felt bad for me and didn't want me living alone. I heard from some mutual friends of ours that Nia had been telling more lies about me, like how I supposedly only got married because I wanted Mike's money that comes from his family business, and how I never even loved Mike in the first place. She also lied about how I think I'm better than them and that I feel superior to them because of my race. The worst thing about this is that I couldn't even do anything because Mike had blocked me and his sister was feeding him lies upon lies which Mike had no reason not to believe because of the tweets Nia had shown him. Update 1. Hey everyone, I read through your advice on what to do, so thanks for the help. I'll try filling you guys in on everything that has happened since. Mike contacted me a few days ago and he said that he wanted to have a talk with me in person. We met at a coffee shop and he told me that with everything going on and everything Nia has told him, he thinks we need to go on a break for a while. He said that this doesn't mean our marriage is over, but just paused for a while. I told him that I just wanted everything to go back to how it was and that I'm sorry, but he needed time. Things only got worse from there. I decided that I had had enough of this nonsense and I went to confront Nia about it. Me and Nia got into a heated argument which only got worse when I pulled my hair. I had to defend myself against her, so I pushed her back, but she tripped and hit her head quite hard against the concrete. I had only pushed her lightly, so she must have tripped over her shoelace or maybe a rock or something, but I know for sure that I didn't push her hard enough for her to fall from it. I had to call an ambulance for her because when she hit her head she went unconscious. When Mike found out that I had knocked Nia out, he blew up at me and said things like I don't even know who you are anymore and told me to stay away from his family. Nia's fine now and has fully recovered. She just fell unconscious and had to get a few stitches for a cut she got on her head. Nia also put a restraining order against me that said I wasn't allowed within 100 yards of her. I've just been sitting in my friend's house since. I have lost everything I had. I lost my husband, my second family, my own family walked out on me much before, and all I have left now are my friends who are on my side. I'm pretty sure that Mike will file for divorce, so I just have to prepare for that. But before doing so, I'm gonna see if I can try working something out. Maybe try couples counseling, or having a chat, just anything that could fix this horrible mess we're in. Update 2. Hey guys, this is probably gonna be the last update I make. It's been quite some time since the last one and a lot has happened since. I don't really want to write all of this out, but I have had many people asking me about an update, so I'll write this one and then I'll probably be out. I guess Nia found this Reddit post because I heard that she's been telling people that I'm whining about this on the internet and calling everyone a liar. If Nia is reading this, I just want you to know that you deserve to burn in hell. You ruined a perfectly happy marriage and made another person's life as depressing as yours, so I guess congratulations. This is probably the biggest achievement you'll ever make in your life. Okay, so to continue where I left off, I decided to start couples counseling for me and Mike to see if there's any solution to any of this. Mike agreed to attend a few sessions, but his heart wasn't in it. He was distant, and I could tell he wasn't fully committed to the process. Not much was achieved in the couples counseling except that we both got to say what we thought of the situation. Mike told me that maybe things would have gone back to normal, but now that I attacked his sister, there is no chance of it ever happening. He basically portrayed me as the villain in all of this and didn't even recognize that maybe he was the bad one for ending a marriage over some stupid tweets I made years ago when I was depressed. At this point I saw no solution to this, and I myself told Mike that if he really lost all his love for me over this, then to end the relationship and call a divorce. I don't even want to try fixing things with him anymore, because from the way he suddenly stops loving me over this, I doubt the love was ever even there in the first place. The next day I went to Mike's house despite his sister being there and the restraining order. I demanded that I speak with Mike's parents and wouldn't leave until I did so. Once they finally agreed to talk to me, I told them that I'm sorry for everything that happened and I still appreciate that they took me in from my abusive household and treated me like their child for all these years. I also told them that despite what they think, none of the stuff Nia said about me is true about the current me, and that even if they don't want to accept that, I will still be there for them if they ever do need something from me. I left the house before they got a chance to say anything back to me, because whatever they were gonna say I would rather not hear. About a week later I came to find out that Mike had officially filed for divorce. Although I was the one that told him to do so earlier, it still hurt that everything we had was ending permanently. Regardless of this, I kept my head up and went to court for this divorce. In court the splitting of assets was discussed, and as me and Mike are both quite young and we had just gotten married 2 to 3 months ago, there weren't really any assets to split. We both worked our separate jobs, so income isn't really much of a splitting matter either. In the end we both agreed not to split anything and to just proceed with the divorce and to keep our own assets to each of ourselves. It was a consensual divorce on both ends, so the court case ended with each of us signing the divorce papers. The divorce itself will take some time to finalize. It could take weeks to months, so currently we are legally divorced, but practically we are. After the divorce I was honestly lost. I didn't know what to do, where to go, or who to talk to. I stayed at my friend's house a bit longer until I noticed she was getting a bit annoyed by my long stay there. So now I've rented an apartment and I'm living here. I haven't had any contact with Mike since the court and not sure if I want to have any either. What we once had is now over and it's not coming back, so I rather not chase a dead horse. Now I'm probably gonna take some time for myself, maybe use some of the money I saved up over the years to go on vacation for a bit to clear my mind. In all honesty, I don't think I have anyone or anything left who cares for me in my city except a few friends. In the past 8 years I have lost my parental family and now my in-laws and my husband, who I was meant to start a family with. I'm considering after my vacation to move to a new city, start fresh from somewhere. I can sell my wedding ring and get some money off that to settle in, and my degree can easily get me a job anywhere else in America. Thanks for reading this everyone, and thanks a lot for the support. I won't be making any more updates from here on, so goodbye.